Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. Thanks, Phoebe. Am I audible and can you see my screen?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for that introduction. Yes, my name is Boniface Waweru. I'm a member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. I'm also a member of the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, a registered valuer, and a registered estate agent. I work for RICS as a partner, development and public affairs for Sub-Saharan Africa, meaning that I cover West Africa. So Ghana is, and so I cover West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, and Southern Africa, except South Africa. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks, Isaac, for organizing this and the entire team. We're very grateful. I'll ask Pia to say hi, and then I'll do my part, and then she will take over.
Thank you. Thank you, Boniface. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. My apologies for my weak voice. A cold decided that I'm going to be sick today, so I'm going to have to speak up a little bit, but it should be okay. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for having us. I think we're both excited to present RICS today and be part of this wonderful conference.
Yeah, thanks, Pia. Yeah, so I'll just go straight into it. And at the at the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, we deliver confidence. And I'm sure even in Ghana and the other countries, I'm sure you know of companies that deliver chicken or electronics or other things, but we deliver confidence. So, and you will see how we do this. And everything we do is designed to effect positive change. Oh, okay. So everything we do is designed to effect positive change in the built and natural environments. And there are certain benefits for being a member of RICS. One, and I'll try to break them into two: benefits for you as an individual, and also benefits for the organization that you will want to work for. One of them is professional status. So that credential, being MRICS, FRICS, or Associate RICS, and Pia will take us through how to become those, gives you unrivaled confidence in the market. I think how I like to look at this confidence issue is if you go to a hospital and the person attending to you has a name tag written Dr. Someone, does that give you confidence that you are being attended to by someone who has qualified? So it's the same thing for us as surveyors, that we need to be able to invoke some confidence in the market, because trust is what makes your clients and your employers be able to hire you or to hire your services. Yeah, then there's recognition, and there's market advantage. You will definitely have an advantage in the market. I think another way to look at market advantage, just in a normal market, if you're selling, say, goats, and your goats are well kept, or it is chicken and they are big and strong, you have an advantage over the person with who is selling goats also, but goats that look weak and not well fed. So even in the market, the surveying market, you will get certain advantages by being a member of RICS. And knowledge, we are also very big on knowledge. And the previous speakers have spoken about networking. So it will give you a very wide network. When you go somewhere and you introduce yourself as a member of RICS, there's a likelihood that even in a different country, that you will find someone who is also a member. And the benefits, actually, this one on the networks. The second segment, in the last segment of the day, will dive deeper on this issue of networking. So there are benefits to the organization, and some of the previous speakers, like Macharia, works for NetFrank, which in Kenya, I'm based in Kenya also, which is able to really attract the best talents. I remember even when we graduated from the university, all of us were dreaming of working at NetFrank because it has, over and above the fact that it is a global body, it has members, it has people who are members of RICS. So it was able to attract and retain talented people. And yeah, and so and I'm sure maybe the audience today, you're not running an organization, but I think it is important that even when you're looking for a job, that you try to see, are there members of RICS who will be able to help me in my career journey? And we'll talk a lot more about career planning in the next segment. Yeah, so we also deliver added value as well as optimized costs and minimize cost and risk to the client and projects. So those are some obvious advantages for the organization and also for you as an individual. So we have about this number is even bigger. Maybe you're at 130 or 140,000 professionals worldwide. And you can see we have maybe the numbers in Middle East and Africa is about that 14,000. And the numbers, of course, are more in the UK. And we have, as RICS, we have offices in 42 cities around the world. And we operate in the main areas of land, construction and infrastructure, and property. Actually, let me go back here. We have 67,000 students, and Pia will take us through the different levels of membership. And I would want to encourage all of us to become student members today. Yeah, so we operate in the many areas of land, construction and infrastructure and property. So if you're into quantity surveying, construction management, so this is where you lie. And then so property, we had a facilities manager earlier. So those ones would be under property or estate agents and land surveyors and others. Our main priorities are urbanization and infrastructure, sustainability. We have a standard which we call the whole life carbon assessment standard. And I would like to encourage all of us to go to our website and download it for free and read it to learn more about sustainability. And the previous speakers today have spoken about sustainability, green buildings. So those are some of the key terminologies that you need to research more on. And I would like to encourage you to go to our website, rics.org, and download that standard and see we have a lot more on sustainability. We're also big on data and technology, diversity, equity, and inclusion. This means that we are trying to have more women become surveyors and remain as surveyors. And ESG and next gen. And the reason why we are having this conversation today is because the participants, are the next generation of surveyors. and you're very happy that you're here, that you're listening to us today. So we have professional standards, and how I like to look at professional standards is if you enjoy watching football, for example, there is a standard. There's a standard. FIFA has set standards on how football is played. And this standard has makes it easy for Ghanaians to go to the World Cup and play football at that level, Kenyans to go, and we even have Africa Cup of Nations, because we have a common standard that FIFA has provided. And even with surveying, because of globalization, we must adopt international standards so that a client does not need to understand 50 standards from the 50 different locations that they are in. You just need to understand one standard, the international standard. And we assess the professional competence through online training, case study, and multiple choice assessment. So I'll ask Pia to take over from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mubaz. Wonderful. Next slide, please. So there's 3 different types of RICS membership. As a student listening today, not all 3 of them apply to you yet, because as you can see, the RICS, or how we call it, fellow member, is a seniority membership. But for today, for you to see the overview, it is important that you see that there are stages in the membership, that you can join as associate member, and then you can upgrade the associate membership into full membership called chartered membership, RICS, and then eventually in time and with a lot of experience, at some point in your life, you can also become a fellow member as RICS. Next slide, please. So there are a few different routes to membership, and today I would like to focus on just 2, since, of course, limited time, and because some of them require an RICS accredited degree, which cannot be obtained in the region at the moment. So I would like to further discuss the ASOC RICS, so Associate Candidate Assessment type of entry, and the prelim, which is very, very similar to RICS, but with slight differences. So I'm going to move up to the next slide, and we'll talk about this further in details. Before I go into the journey of what you need to prepare for your examination and how it's going to look like, I would like to say that throughout the whole journey, from today to the last day to your final assessment, you will be supported from different teams in RICS. So today it's actually a pre-step to the first step. You can see the first step is enrollment. Today is an early engagement step. I'm coming from an early engagement department, that's why I use this word. This means we're talking to you as a student who is not enrolled yet into the journey of becoming a member. It's very important at this stage for you to get sufficient information on how to apply, where to apply, and at the end of the day, why to apply, and how is this going to support your journey as a professional in your career. So today is a pre-step, giving you all the information, and when you decide it's time for you to become a candidate, you will start with enrollment. That will look like an online application where you will have to gather some sort of material. Of course, that information will be provided to you at that point. And before that, you will send the CV to review to our team. They're called enrollment specialists, and they will help you out with your previous knowledge that you have, studies that you did, degree that you have, and work experience if you have any. And then you will choose the correct way to approach your candidate journey. And then when you become a candidate, you will of course be supported by a candidate support team, which will ensure that you have full set of information of what you need to do and in what kind of timely manner you need to do it to be ready for your final assessment. And then when you transition from candidate to assessment, which is the final step, you will go through specific examination and then you become a member. Next slide, please. So, like we said, two options for you to join RICS. First of them is associate RICS. This one is a pre-step to a full membership. You can join, and then if you would ever like to become an MRICS, which is a full membership, you can upgrade the ASOP RICS membership to MRICS. For you to be eligible to do this, you need 1 year of relevant experience and a relevant bachelor's degree, or 2 years of relevant experience with some sort of higher education and qualification, or 4 years of relevant experience and no qualification required. So of course, every application is very personal. We review the CV, we review experience, we review everything that has to come into the play of eligibility, and then we help you choose the right one. For this, for associate RICS, there is no final assessment interview needed. Everything you need to do is by written submission and is then reviewed by 3 panels of the RICS assessors. These 3 panels will read through your work, will grade it, and then you will proceed into the next step. So what do you need to prepare for this final assessment submission is the summary of experience, which we in RICS divide into 2. One is technical and the other one is mandatory competences. You will get guidance in how to write those and where to get information about everything you need to know in a guide as soon as you enroll into associate RICS membership journey. So do not worry about these expressions and where to get information because everything will be delivered and provided for you. What I would like to mention here is to please make sure to remember that the 2,000 words and 1,000 words and 2,500 words of a case study, this is not a suggestion. This is mandatory word count. I have seen people having rejected applications because they wrote more or less than that. So please make sure you stick with the number of words to ensure you the smooth transition into the next stage. So the case study is very important. It's also the biggest out of all 3 that you will have to write because it's of course based on something you are working on, based on a project that you will do at work, in your internship, somehow involved into build environment, right? So that case study is crucial and you and your mentor will focus most of your time on building your case study and writing it in a proper way. Of course, you will also have to pass the ethic tests because ethics is really important at RICS, but I believe that this will be talked about in the next stages of this conference, so I will not go into details. And of course, the CPD, Continuous Professional Development, which means that at RICS we believe as professional and even before that as a candidate, you always have to upgrade your knowledge. So when you are in your role of a candidate, you have to do 48 hours of continuous professional development, which can be different things. It can be conferences, it can be self-work, self-study work. You will get guidance on that as well as soon as you join. And later on in your career, when you become a member, you will add 20 of those hours each year to upgrade your knowledge. Next slide, please. The second way for you to join is APC preliminary, that is a full membership journey for you. It is called preliminary because there's a slight difference from how you approach it as a candidate, but it gives you the same credentials as MRICS, as APC journey. What's the difference? The difference is that when it comes to assessment, preliminary review of final assessment submission is reviewed by an assessor before you have your final interview. Why? Because this is a shorter way to join. Usually the APC training, or structured training as we call it, takes 1 to 2 years to complete. But APC prelim can only take up to 6 months to do. And to avoid any unnecessary stress and problems in the 60-minute final assessment interview, your work is going to be assessed before the final assessment. The final assessment submission is the same for the APC prelim and APC structured training, MRICS, so both the same. You will have to as well write summary of professional experience. You will have to write summary of technical experience and do a case study. Now, a bit different than the previous one because case study is a bit longer and you will have to present it with a 10-minute presentation in your final interview. So the same hours of continuous professional development, and of course, you have to successfully complete the RICS ethics module. When all this is done and you have submitted your work and your assessors have reviewed your submission and you are granted the final interview, then you will have a 60-minute conversation with 2 to 3 RICS assessors. In this conversation, you will have to present your work, so your case study, in about 10-minute long presentation, PowerPoint presentation. You will be asked about your work, about the project that you have been developing, and then of course you will get multiple other questions about standards, about ethics, and so forth, depending on which way you will join us. Next slide, please. So one more thing that I would like to mention are submission deadlines, because I would like to warn you about something that happens multiple times. I've seen it happen multiple times. Next slide, please. When you are ready to submit your paperwork, you have to, of course, register as a final interview, register for the final interview, and you will do that on our assessment platform. You can see on this slide a part of the assessment platform. It says assessment dates and processes. You will go down and you will click your region, whichever region you will be in at the moment. Very important to know that you can take this exam anywhere in the world, because the examination is exactly the same anywhere in the world. If you move, if you get a work opportunity in UK, in Europe, in Asia, in anywhere in the world, you can still do this exam, but you have to let your evaluators and your team know that you are relocating. But there is no problem if you start where you are now and finish somewhere else, or if you decide to move and do it from somewhere else. So you will go to assessment platform and you will look for the region where you want to take exam in. You will click on it and then it will open a variety of options. Please be careful. The written submission has to be done 2 months prior before examination time. So for example, there are 2 dates each year for MRICS and associate RICS. One is in spring, end of spring, towards beginning of summer, usually June, or maybe the latest July, and the other one will be in November. And then 2 months prior, so somewhere in April, there will be a little bit of a window with, I think, approximately 4 days, 4 to 5 days, where you will have to submit all your written work for assessors to check before you can actually register and finalize your application for assessment interview. So have that in mind when you're planning your exam, that always work has to be finalized 2 months prior to the dates. Next slide. And now, so we got the basics down on how to do it and where to do it. And of course, if there's any other question regarding that, please feel free to reach out and we will give you further explanation and talk you through everything. Now, I would like to encourage you today to join our RICS student membership. It's free of charge as long as you are a student. So if you're studying at the moment, it doesn't matter which year are you in, I would encourage you to join because this will give you an insight into the RICS. Certain events, you will get access to webinars online, you will get free entrance to certain events, you will get access to the online library, which you have to apply for, but as soon as you register as a member, you'll be able to do it. We have a huge knowledge hub monitored by headquarters in London, mostly in English, so you'll be able to read through anything you need that will potentially also help with your studies. So there's quite a lot of things you can do as a student, which you will not be able to do if you don't register as a student member, because we need to see you in the system to be able to give you access, further access to, for example, library or webinars and things that we do at RICS. So I strongly encourage everyone to register. The link is here, but we can also share it afterwards with anyone who would like to join. 3-minute process, quickly done. All you need to do is put your email, name, last name, and the country of origin. Sometimes it happens that you might not find your country of origin. If that happens, please feel free to reach out to us. It does sometimes happen that we have technical issues. I've seen it come from Kenya as well a few times, but please do not get discouraged. This is just an IT issue. Email us and we'll fix that. Next slide. And then, of course, the second part of the good part of being a student is also that you can register for free with RICS Matrix. And I've heard previous panel talking about networking and how important it is. In RICS and, of course, in your professional life outside of RICS. So this is one of the ways you can network. You can join online, you can join the UK one if you have interest in traveling around the world or working somewhere else. You are free to join Matrix around the world as well. There's a global link for Matrix that I can share with you, when you can then also participate in virtual events around Europe and UK in your region. So I strongly encourage you to read about RICS Matrix in our website and join. Next slide. So, like I said, the purpose of Matrix is inspiring next generation, of course, networking and business contacts. That's always very high up on the list, but it also provides support and personal development for new members. And since you are trying to get into the business, this would be a great first step for you to start mingling. Even if it's online in the beginning, and then it can extend into your region and you can start joining. And as a student member, you will have the right to join the Matrix events versus if you're not registered with us. Next slide. When you're looking for a new job as an RICS student, you also will have access to RICS Recruit. On there, I cannot promise there will be your dream job, but what I can promise is that you will have an overview of jobs that are in the market currently worldwide. What can a surveyor do worldwide in all the sectors that we can join? So there's 22 different ways to join RICS, and the jobs that people will advertise, you can browse in this RICS Recruit and see if something is working for you. And maybe you can also find a job and move and relocate to other destination. A very valuable moment to check. Next slide, please. So this is how it looks like. You will, of course, choose your location. You will choose the specialized profession if you have something very concrete in mind. It can be either finances, environment, infrastructure. If you want into project management or finance, you will put that into the keyword, and then it will show you the location that you choose, what jobs are available. Next slide. And of course, Graduate Hub. These are the job levels, the job entry jobs levels, and sometimes it also works in reverse. You can upload your CV, and the company can support you in finding work for you. So it's worth investigating, and if this is something you can or you will want to get involved as a student, it might give you a perspective, or it can open some job opportunities in the region or worldwide. Next slide. So again, you can see how it looks like. It's very similar to RICS the previous one on the RICS Recruit, because Graduate Hub is connected with this one. So you will also see job of the week. You will see salaries in here. So it's a good opportunity for you to also investigate what is there and what you can actually go for. Next slide. So this is how it looks like when you open it and when you choose your graduate jobs and the money range also in them. Some companies will advertise the pay, some won't. So that really depends on them. Next slide. Now I'm going to give the word to my colleague, and he's going to explain the direct entry.
Thank you, Pia. So there is an easy way to become a member of RICS, and we call it the direct entry route. And for Africa right now, I know of two countries that have this, and one of them is Ghana. So let me just go to the next slide. So we have RICS has a direct entry agreement with the Ghana Institute of Surveyors. So you just need to be a professional member, 5 years of relevant experience, post-professional membership. And there are several ways, either as a QS, a land surveyor, or valuation surveyor. And Kenya also, for the participants who are from Kenya, we have a direct entry agreement with IQSK, Institution of Quantity Surveyors of Kenya. And the next slide talks about the modalities of that. Basically, you need 5 years post-registration with RICS, the Board of Registered Architects and Quantity Surveyors, and be a member in good standing with IQSK. And then if you fulfill those conditions, you just need to sit an ethics exam, and you automatically become Matrics, a member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. So on the fees, the fee is as follows. For Sub-Saharan Africa, we can say the highest amount of money that you'll be paying will be $565 per year. So that is the application fee, training fee, election fee. That is for MRICS. For associate RICS, the fee that you'll be paying every year will be $158 United States dollars. And so it might look like a lot or not a lot. I think the question, instead of asking how much, why is this amount so high, or if you find it high, I think ask yourself, what can this registration designation with RICS do for me? And let me just put it in context. We had a a talk where a quantity surveyor who is based in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia became a chartered quantity surveyor, went there, and she was sharing the range of salaries. And if you're probably earning about 10,000 USD, United States dollars per month, and what RICS is asking for is $565 per year, then the $565 is not a lot of money. So I think it depends on how you look at it. And yeah, so finally, RICS offers trainings, both face-to-face, blended learning, online academy, knowledge and competence. So in case you're looking for any training, if you are alone, you can check. If you are a group, you can always email me. My email address is at the beginning of is right here in the first slide. This is my email address, biwaweru@rics.org. And the slides have been shared with Orient, so you'll be able to get them. And yeah, that marks the end of our first presentation. I think we can take questions before we move to the next session, where we will talk about ethics, networking, and career planning. And so, Phoebe, will you help us with the questions? Are there any questions on the chat?
Yes, there are a few questions in the chat. One person is Kelvin is asking, how do RICS, my question is, do RICS have student members? This is from Kelvin.
Yes. Bofas, do you want me to take, or will you address?
Yes. Yeah, please.
Yes, so of course, that's why I was emphasizing the student membership, and probably this question came before I started talking about student membership. There's a link in the presentation. We have a lot of students all over the world, because it makes sense for you when you are still in the university to start thinking about your future profession. And when you join an organization like RICS, even just as a student with free, you get an insight of what you can achieve with this organization. So I would highly recommend everyone to join as student members. And of course, if you later on in life, in profession, decide that this is not for you, your membership will end, your student membership will end. And if you decide to join us, this student membership will transition into a candidate membership, and then into the full membership when you're done with your exams.
Thank you, Pia. I hope, Kevin, your question has been duly answered. There is another question from Philip Van de Bureau. I hope I mentioned that right. And he says, hello, is RICS also playing a role or taking action for creating a quality network in smaller countries like Togo?
Yes, in fact, surprisingly, I have a call with someone who is relocating to Togo. Yeah, I have a call tomorrow with them. So please, I would also want to have a chat with you. My email address is right there. I'll also put it on the chat. Please drop me an email, and then we can discuss more on how RICS can be more visible or have more activities in Togo. I'm very keen to support that business there.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll have an interaction session after this, where each of you will be allowed to put your email addresses, your LinkedIn profile, your phone numbers, your WhatsApp numbers, and then we can interact off stage behind all of this. There is another question from an anonymous person, and he wants to know how RICS can improve real estate in our technical universities in Ghana. That's the last question for this session. Thank you.
I have begun the process of accrediting, helping universities to get accredited with RICS so that they can offer accredited courses. And we are, I'm very keen to have that conversation about, especially accrediting a course at a university in West Africa. So the person was asked that if you can please put me in touch with your lecturer or head of department, then you can begin that conversation, because without us having like such an accreditation, I think the only way would be able to influence would be through forums like this. But if it is an accredited course, then would be able to give to influence more and to bring in a lot more of the international aspect of surveying into the courses that are being done. Yeah, so please, if you can email me and then we begin that conversation, I'll be very happy.